So here we go. All right, so I'm hoping that you guys can hear me at home and hear me on the video. My screen thing just told me I was using another another video or something like that for audio that I'm not used to. So we'll just see how that works out. All right, so you're having to take a CFA tomorrow, English 3 CFA number 2. And the reason we're giving it is because, one, we're supposed to, it's a requirement, and last time we didn't do so good. As the class as a whole, we didn't do so good. And the only thing it was really judging you on was character. We're talking about character content. How do you look at someone's character? And it was making inferences. So that's the two things. That's kind of what we're looking at tomorrow because, we really stunk it up. And this is why I think we stunk it up. I don't think you put a lot of effort into it as a class. Now, a couple of you really did a good job. There are only 6 questions on it, so I don't want you to fret about that. But when I saw someone take it for the first time and they only spent 12 seconds on it total, that tells me that, all right, I didn't even read it. So it just gave us false reading. So basically, we're going to redo and look at characterization. I'm going to talk about characterization real quick and talk about inferences, and I'm going to kind of do it in a different fashion because we see we're more visual. The same thing that when we read something thoroughly, we also use our visual mind. I mean, we have images in our mind with how people look, and it's the words on the page that give us that images and make sure of those things. All right, so if you came in the classroom for the first time and saw me up here, who am I? Not even knowing who I was, not even part of this class, but you walk into this class, how do you identify me? I'm a teacher. Right. How do you know I'm a teacher? Everybody's paying attention. All right, well, everybody pays attention to the clown at the back of the room a lot of times, right? Okay, but what else? Give me something that's a little bit more obvious, because if you look around right now, I'm seeing screens, people working on their devices. I'm still the teacher, but people are not 100% paying attention to me.
You're behind the computer and all.
Oh, I'm behind the computer and I'm standing at the front. All right, so that's pretty good. Why don't you stand up here? I'm just kidding, but think about it. If you were standing up here, who's the teacher? What if I was sitting over here and you were standing up here and the stranger walks into the room and wants to identify the teacher? Who's the teacher? Okay. Well, I'm looking at 16, 17, 18-year-olds. Aren't you young adults? I mean, you're adults, right? You haven't really thought about that, but you kind of are. She just said I look very old. That's all I heard. I just stopped listening after that. But you're right. It's the gray hair. It's the wrinkles and stuff. I look like the oldest person in the room, and I should, right? So I really should. What was the other part? The clothing. Oh, yeah, I'm wearing baseball attire. What else can you make the assumption that who am I?
Someone really invested in school sports.
School sports, okay. I might actually be a coach on one of the teams or something like that for wearing something like this. So we're using clues. We use clues all through the day to make assumptions about people and who they are. If I was sitting out in the classroom and the person walked in and was looking for the teacher, they would immediately see gray hair, wrinkly dude, whatever, and see that I'm different from everybody else in the classroom. Oh, he must be the teacher. So I was watching an episode years ago of, what was the name of it? It was the college years of Saved by the Bell. And Zach, one of the main characters in it, came into this college class. He was on time. And this other guy came in, about his same age or whatever, or at least he looked that same age, and sat down beside him. And they had a conversation. And it's like, well, what do you think about this class? Why are you taking this class? Who do you think the professor's going to be? What do you think it's going to be like? And Zach was like, oh, this is going to stink. That dude, he's already late, and he's not making a good impression. Zach was talking to the professor. The professor was just a young guy. So he didn't use all the clues. It's kind of hard. That was kind of fake. But if you look deeper in the questions that the guy was asking, you probably think, too, this wasn't the normal conversation that two dudes would have when they meet for the first time about class or whatever. So maybe that was something, too. That's far-fetched from what I'm talking about. But now let's apply it to literature. Let's apply it to something that we read. We read thoroughly to look for context clues about the character. If the character, if it's written that he snubbed so-and-so, then you get an impression about that person that he could be a snob, he could be inconsiderate, he could be something. So there's little things in there that you have to identify about that character. Same way with the scene, the tone, and everything else. Here's what I think what happened on our last CFA. I really think we scanned through it, and I'm very much guilty of scanning work because I got other things to do. You have other things to do. You're not really interested in it. You should be interested in it at this point because it counts as a grade for you. For a number of you doing well on this CFA, reading thoroughly and answering the questions in an appropriate manner and getting that 100 or 83 will significantly increase your grade. So this is going to be a challenge. So tomorrow when we come in and do the CFA and you guys at home working on the CFA, read thoroughly. I'm not going to let you down with this. It's not going to be extremely hard. It's not a complicated read, but you have to read thoroughly. The hint with part of what you're going to do is it's kind of a conversation between two guys, basketball players. So you get to see students, but you're going to have to read thoroughly. And the questions are not hard. You just have to be able to look at textual evidence to answer the questions. It's going to be pretty much the same as the last CFA you took, if you remember it, and you probably don't because too many of you scanned it. So, but now we're going to up the ante, and I'm going to ask you to make sure that you take this seriously because your grades are riding on it. Now, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start the CFA. I'm going to go live with it tomorrow at 9 o'clock for first period. I don't want you guys to go live at 9 o'clock that you are in here because I want to be able to have you guys ask questions if you need to, if there were some concerns with how it turns out, and I really want to get a good time. So basically, I'm timing till the last person finishes the test that's in the room. I'm doing that first period. I'm going to ask you guys to hold off, and we'll do it second period so I time you. You guys at home, you can just go ahead and take it at 9 o'clock. It doesn't matter to me. But I just kind of want to get a feel how long it's taking, but I want to make sure that you guys are reading thoroughly through. I get to see the times it takes you to take the test or take the quiz. There's only 6 questions. There's 2 passages, and they're not lengthy passages. Promise you, they're not lengthy. So, and once we finish the CFA, we'll talk about noodle tools and some of the other things like that. So, all right. So, before I talk about procedures, I'm only going to talk about procedures for about 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. I want you guys to make sure that you are working on unfinished work for me. All right. There are numerous. Like I said, there's over 20 students that are missing more than 10 assignments. There are over 20 students missing over 10 assignments. And